What is Barbenheimer?
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, Barbie. Hi.
To the layman, it would appear to be two movies releasing on the same day that have no correlation and couldn't be more diametrically opposed. To someone who doesn't follow film and isn't totally invested in this world, they might be a bit confused as to why a movie about a plastic doll invented in the 50s and the most dangerous weapon of all time invented in the 40s, why they would release on the same day. There's probably a little bit of drama behind the scenes, knowing that this is Nolan's first movie after departing Warner Brothers. And since Barbie is a Warner Brothers production, it could be interpreted as a bit of a slight that they decided to drop it on the same day as Nolan's revolutionary biopic. But it turns out that both films are very much benefiting from the same day release. Two movies that couldn't be more polar opposites somehow have begun to be double billed, and double features are all the rage with Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbenheimer just may be the film event of the decade, and I can't imagine anything else of this magnitude making waves at theaters across the country quite like these two have. They're both shattering box office expectations. Greta Gerwig just landed the biggest opening for a female director in history, and I'm pretty sure the combined box office of the Barbenheimer double bill is the biggest box office weekend, I think, since Avengers Endgame. I think the one takeaway we all can agree on from Barbenheimer is that audiences are expecting more creative and more original content at the cinema. We've seen so many superhero movies bombing one after the other in the last few years, and it's because people are sick of it. But Barbenheimer, something like this, has never been seen before. Technically speaking, if you look at my tickets for Oppenheimer and for Barbie, the dates are different, but I will say that I did see them under pretty extreme circumstances, so I think I'm validated in saying that I saw them on the same day. When Oppenheimer first was announced, obviously it's a Nolan movie, so he's pushing the IMAX 70mm format into as many theaters as he could. Now, there are only about 30 or so in the United States, and the closest one to me was actually only about an hour away, but about a week after it was listed on the website, it suddenly disappeared, and I went into a panic. But I noticed an amazing opportunity. I saw AMC Lincoln Square in New York City had two 70mm IMAX showings, and they were both nearly sold out. So I turned to my lovely girlfriend, Shaylee, who is also the wonderful editor of these videos, and I said, pack your bags, we're going on a trip. So we turned the premiere of Oppenheimer into a little day trip to the Big Apple. Ever since this trip's inception, I have been just gazing and ogling at pictures of AMC Lincoln Square on Google Images for months and months. After reading so much about the theater, looking at people's pictures, reading about their experiences, you could say that this was almost a religious experience, traveling to AMC Lincoln Square. It seems like it's almost like a holy place, like Jerusalem, for film bros, especially in NYC. And so traveling there and being back in the big city really added to the experience of seeing Oppenheimer for the first time. Now, I can only say I technically participated in Barbenheimer because while we saw Oppenheimer on Thursday night, it didn't start till 11:30, which means with trailers. Reddit was lying. There were trailers before 70mm Oppenheimer, so thanks for nothing, Reddit. By the time the movie ended, it was well after 3 o'clock. And by the time we got home and went to bed, it was well after 4 in the morning. And since we got home so late, of course we paid for a late checkout. And leaving the city, we were pretty slow. I mean, we were exhausted from the emotional draining of this biopic and the heavy just burden we could feel through the filmmaking and the acting and everything. It was just such a very heavy experience, even if it was one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. So we were late getting out of the city, and we ended up driving straight from New York City all the way back home to our home theater at AMC. So that's why I can only say I technically participated in the double feature, because although this was on two separate days, it very much was a singular experience, driving from New York City premiere of Oppenheimer straight to my home theater and to another AMC, going straight into Barbie. It shouldn't be that surprising that after watching Oppenheimer, getting the littlest bit of sleep, driving for 4 or 5 hours home, and then watching Barbie, it was an overwhelming experience to say the least. But honestly, one of the greatest I've ever had at the movies in my entire life. When we were in New York seeing Oppenheimer, there was just so much enthusiasm, both in the line for concessions, in the theater. We got there plenty early. You could just hear the murmurs, the whispers, the excitement just pouring out of all the people in the theater. I saw one group of about, I think it was 6 dudes. They all had pork pie hats on. It was the loveliest thing I've ever seen. I should have gotten one for this video, but I looked it up and they're like $60, and I didn't realize Oppenheimer had that kind of drip. And then when we saw Barbie, I wasn't. This is Shaylee's jacket, but I had another pink jacket that a friend let me borrow, and so walking into the theater, there's just pink everywhere. It was honestly a lot like when Minions came out and the TikTok meme was to wear a suit to the movies. That was very funny, and I loved that meme. But Barbie is similar in the sense that everybody's wearing pink. You've never seen this much pink in your life. My favorite part about seeing Barbie was when we were actually walking into the movie theater. There was a group in line to buy tickets wearing pink. I think you could guess what they were seeing. And they saw me and my squad walking up in our decked out pink outfits, and they started going, "Hi, Barbie. Hi, Ken. Hi, Ken." And I mean, of course, I'm all swept up in the excitement of it all. I'm waving back. I'm saying hi to every Barbie. I'm saying hi to every Ken I saw. I felt as though I had showed up to the most exclusive party in the world that everybody and anybody was invited to. It's that movie magic that you get when you go to the theaters and you sit with a bunch of strangers. It's that communal experience that you just get to watch something incredible unfold before your eyes. So, after experiencing Barbenheimer myself, I think I can say that Oppenheimer is the better of the two movies, but I am a little biased. I do have a degree in history, World War II history specifically. I think any guy would appreciate. It's kind of just like dinosaurs or race cars. We kind of just automatically gravitate towards that kind of stuff, especially after you spend 4 years studying it. But that isn't said to diminish Barbie at all. It's the funniest movie I've seen this year. The most creative, probably. I don't think anything will be able to top that. Greta Gerwig is such a queen. I mean, this is her third straight banger of a movie. Lady Bird is phenomenal. Little Women makes me cry every time I watch it. She can just really be trusted to adapt anything. And I think she's probably one of my favorite filmmakers working today now, and has been, honestly, since Little Women turned me into a sopping wet mess. Now, of course, as a history nerd, I did do my homework, and I picked up American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin Sherwin. This is probably the best biography I've ever read. The two men's writing just brings everyone so alive. Honestly, more so than Christopher Nolan does in the movie. I think that he does as well as he could to adapt this book. He will certainly have an adapted screenplay Oscar nomination in the future for this. I think that is pretty much guaranteed. But as phenomenal as the movie is, and as much as I loved it, I've already seen it twice, nothing can really come close to the book. So if you loved Oppenheimer, if you enjoyed the movie, and you want more, I cannot recommend American Prometheus enough. It's just superb. Now, in trying to quantify Barbenheimer, I mean, obviously it's kind of started as a meme, probably on TikTok. That's where everything originates these days in our digital age. Did Warner Brothers deliberately set this to release the same day as Oppenheimer? My money would be on more than likely than not. I'm sure there were some executives who saw this as like a subtle way to slight Christopher Nolan and kind of maybe try and undermine what many is viewing as his magnum opus. And it turns out that if that was their plan, it failed miserably. Because somehow both movies, these two polar opposites, have become so intertwined, and like people are seeing both of them, whether or not they only want to see one. They're seeing both because of the meme. So really, releasing these movies on the same date has only helped both of the films and elevated them to a higher status, to that coveted global phenomenon meme status. So there really isn't that much similarities to draw between the two films. I think most of the enjoyment people are getting out of this event is the fact that they're so different. There's a possibility that Barbenheimer may be even causing rifts in your household. I'm sure your dad is much more inclined to sit through the 3-hour black and white biopic than your mom, and your mom is much more interested in the Barbie movie. Pretty much the only thing that I could think of that these two films share are their spectacular star-studded casts. But as I was sitting through the Barbenheimer experience, I did think of one other shared theme that I guess these two films share, and that is of creativity. On the one hand, you have J. Robert Oppenheimer, the most gifted physicist of his time, probably one of the most brilliant men to ever live in the history of our species. And through global circumstances, his own personal circumstances, the revolutionary time period that he was living through, he used his intellect and a lot of curiosity, which led to the creation of the atomic bomb. On the other hand, you have a plastic doll that was created through creativity, and you got decades of fun memories with children playing with Barbies that became its own cultural phenomenon. Now, I don't know how certain scientists at Los Alamos would respond to me comparing their atomic bomb invention to the invention of the Barbie doll, but there's definitely something to explore there. It's through our creativity that we, as a species, created this weapon of divine power that could lead to our extinction. And it also led to a child's plaything that we all get to make fun of now because of Greta Gerwig. And I really think that's what makes these two movies so special, because while they're not related in the slightest, apart from their sharing of a release date, they highlight two very different extremes of the human experience. So to wrap things up nicely with a perfect pink little bow, go see Oppenheimer, go see Barbie. I don't think we're going to have another opportunity like this for a very long time. With the ongoing strikes from the writers and the actors, the fall slate is looking quite precarious. Any and all of them could be pushed back. This really could be another repeat of 2020, which is a real shame. These studios and these executives are being so unreasonable. I mean, of course they're being greedy as hell. Like, look at the CEO pay. They're making 300, 400 times their lowest paid worker. Bob Iger said that the strikers' demands were unreasonable when he just got like a $27 million bonus for coming back. I mean, it's absurd. You guys need to pay your writers. You need to pay your actors. You need to keep everything on time. I need Dune Part 2 this year. If it doesn't come out, actually, that might work well, because I don't see how I could ever put up Dune Part 2 against Oppenheimer. So now I feel conflicted. Regardless, go watch Barbenheimer. Let me know what you thought. Which one did you prefer? Did you do Oppie first, then Barbie, or vice versa? I think that would also greatly impact your experience. I did Oppenheimer, then Barbie, of course, and so I came out feeling very pink and refreshed. I'm sure if you did it the other way, you would have forgotten all of the great laughs from Barbie and would be weighed down by the existential dread of the ending to Oppenheimer. If you made it to the end of the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, let me know what you thought of both movies, which one was your favorite. I have a full Christopher Nolan video in the works, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Go ahead and hit that notification bell if you want to be up to date the second that comes out. But as always, thanks for watching. Love ya. Bye. That's it. Cut the outro. Cut the outro. Start that camera up again. I couldn't, in good faith, make a whole Barbenheimer video without actually have experienced the true back-to-back, double feature, double bill Barbenheimer. So I addressed that issue today by going to see both, back-to-back, Oppenheimer, then Barbie. I woke up bright and early, 9 a.m., drove 45 minutes to the closest theater near me that had Oppenheimer in 70mm because I refused to watch this movie in digital, as God and Nolan would want. I sat through Christopher Nolan's second best movie for the third time, Barbie for the second time, but for the first time, I watched them both in one day, and what an experience. I can honestly say that I cannot imagine any other double bill being as fun as this is. I mean, obviously, I saw Barbie second, so my optimism and my cheeriness and my happiness is at an all-time high, whereas I'm sure if I saw Oppenheimer first, I'd be the complete opposite, and I would not be in this beautiful pink outfit, because I am here to tell you that Barbie is definitively the better comedy. Oppenheimer is still a better movie. I mean, like I said in the video, I'm a history nerd. It goes without saying that this movie is like a gift on a silver platter from the hands of Jesus Christ himself. I mean, this is a 5 out of 5. Might be perfect. I'll probably have to see it at least one more time to decide if I can add that label to it. But Oppenheimer, what a beautiful film. Barbie, hilarious. And now I can finally complete my wonderful Oppenheimer shrine because we got this beautiful freebie, this film strip in New York City when we saw Oppenheimer. And now I can add my standard 70 millimeter ticket to the other ones I have here. We have standard IMAX, digital IMAX that is, and then of course we have the 70 millimeter IMAX. So I'm pretty sure that covers all the bases. That's every format that Christopher Nolan would want me to see it in. I'm not seeing it in digital. I refuse to do that. I know there's one other theater that I haven't been to that does have Oppenheimer in 70 millimeter. I'm a nerd for that kind of stuff. Something about hearing the whirring and the rotations of the film projector and that little it's just, I love it. It's so satisfying. Obviously, Oppenheimer is a very loud movie, so there's not many quiet moments where you can actually hear the projector, but those times that you can, pure movie magic, baby. Oppenheimer for the win.